welcoming you here to the field at Research Stadium. Publisher Brenden Slaughter here for BeaversEdge.com, joined by Beavers Edge senior writer Ryan Harlan, and in our middle, Beavers Edge writer Brogan Slaughter. We're coming to you guys following Oregon State's second win of the season. The Beavers improved to 2-7 on the year, take down the Washington State Cougars by a score of 10-7 here at Research Stadium. If you like defense and you like punts, folks, this was the game for you. We'll kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it. Obviously, make sure to check out BeaversEdge.com for all the post-game interviews from tonight, the 3-2-1 from Brogan and I, the takeaways from Ryan, as we'll be breaking down this win. And obviously, you know, the win ends up covering up some of the things that were not so great from the game, including kind of a lackluster day offensively. But the bottom line is this, guys. The Beavers dug deep, found a way to get a gritty win, and man, I mean, we kind of talked about it going in on our podcast midweek, Ryan, is, you know, could that momentum from Lafayette carry over? And just from what we've heard from Rob Akey, the players, it absolutely did. And now Oregon State, you know, has their most impressive win of the year, not one over an FCS team.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that momentum was huge. It's good when you get that first win, and that can carry you over into more positive success in the back half of this year, in a year that's been kind of one to forget for the most part. But I think the biggest thing for me out of that is somebody who loves punting and loves the fact that there were 17 punts in this game. Beautiful. A Sickos Committee certified hood classic. Like, I'm content, man. Like, that is like the biggest win for me from this game by far. I don't know about you guys on that, how you feel so strongly about punting, but that's just me.
We had 10 punts, not one of them got blocked. Most of it, I think
there's
improvements.
9 out of the 10 where there was one snap that wasn't quite as clean, but they got it off. It wasn't blocked, so improvement there. They can punt well.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of go back to the game itself. Obviously, the team's, 0-0 after the first quarter. Oregon State opens up the scoring with a Caleb Ojeda 35-yard field goal. Again, nice to have the execution on the field goal so Oregon State can actually get the kick up because, again, when he's been protected, Ojeda's looked like a kid who can kick all the kicks. Kirby Voorhees gets the touchdown scoring started in the second. Washington State, there was a key play, Brogan. I'm not sure if we'll specifically zone in on it or not. Third down, almost right where we're standing at the end of the first half. Washington State's able to convert. They go down all the way down the field and get a key score before the 2-minute break. We all kind of looked at each other like that was maybe the only time tonight when Oregon State's defense was not specifically on par. And that's, I'm not saying Washington State's a world beater on offense. They're not. But a huge improvement from what we've seen at points this year, guys.
Yeah, I think if Oregon State gets that 3rd and 10 stop right before halftime, they shut them out in that first half, and the way that they didn't score in the second half, maybe could have had a full game shutout. I know they missed a field goal and some other things happened, but I mean, otherwise they were very impressive on third down. They forced 7 Washington State punts of their own, and like we were saying, as a collective, the defense was playing really, really well.
No first downs also too, by the way. That's another thing for Wazoo.
And, not to mention, also looking at it, Brogan mentioned it a little bit, Jack Stevens, Washington State's kicker, was perfect on kicks from inside of 49 yards this year. I believe he missed from 50 plus. And again, you talk about Washington State having a chance at the very late in the game, Ryan, to be able to force it into overtime. We've seen overtime here at Reser once this year, a brutal loss to Houston when Oregon State couldn't snap these things. For Oregon State to be able to get that missed field goal and then ultimately be able to run it out, you could tell, a weight has been lifted off these players' shoulders. It's not to say that Oregon State's going to suddenly be a world beater the rest of the year, but I think you've seen these last 3 weeks, when you include Lafayette and now Washington State, this team has not quit, and I think that is 100% key and an attribute to Rob Akey for what he's been able to do, because after App State and after Wake Forest, when Trent Bray was let go, there were not a lot of good vibes with this football team, guys.
No, I mean, the good vibes have now come back around where you have Coach Marshall coming into the media room doing his best Rob Akey impression. So that tells you kind of how things have kind of flipped around here in kind of 2-game sample size that we have under the Rob Akey era. But, I will say, as Akey kind of said, for how he's approaching these final kind of 5 games or so, it's take it week by week. I mean, that's all that you can really do if you're Oregon State, right? You're playing with house money. Have some fun, right? Obviously the season didn't turn out what you want it to be, but if you can make it a little more fun, a little more enjoyable, have guys smiling, have coaches doing impressions of other coaches, hey, you take that any day of the week.
100%. And, again, Oregon State gets the 10-7 win over Washington State. They improved to 2-7 on the year. Washington State falls to 4-5. But don't wait, folks. Season finale, these two teams are going to score off
This
yet.
is part one.
Yeah.
Part deux
Yep.
is at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'd almost go with like the Joker Folie Adu is coming up a little bit later. But nevertheless, before then, Oregon State's going to have a matchup against maybe the worst team in college football in Sam Houston this next week. They are winless. That's great for Oregon State continuing to stack up wins. A game against a beatable Tulsa team, and then we just saw them beat Washington State. I mean, fellas, I'm not saying they're going to win out, but the opportunity to end this season on like winning 3 of your last 4 or whatever have you is definitely there for the squad now.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely there too. Obviously, the saying goes any given Saturdays, so you still got to play the games and see what happens. But I definitely think, though, it's not quite as doom and gloom anymore in terms of the back half and wondering how locked in guys are and things like that. Like, guys are clearly locked in and they're taking it week by week, and you just kind of have to go along for the ride and see what happens.
Absolutely. Got to shout out Aiden Sullivan and Jaheim Patterson in this game. Aiden Sullivan finished with the team lead for tackles. I believe so did Cord Shaw. And then Jaheim Patterson, 2 interceptions, bro. He was clutch. You saw how big he talked about how, AJ Cooper kind of challenged him a little bit and was like, hey, you're not playing up to the standard. And Jaheim took that personally.
Yeah, the second one was a little bit easier than the first.
Yeah.
I think Zevi just kind of lost him in the defense, and he got a really free interception. But that first ball kind of down here near the 10-yard line, he just wrestled away from the wide receiver, and really impressive pick, honestly. And kind of like Ryan was mentioning earlier, you can just tell the vibe is a little different. This game, especially towards the end, was setting up a lot like the Houston and the Fresno State game, where they lost that game late in the fourth quarter. They kind of ran out of gas, and you couldn't see them really finishing the game. Washington State had a red zone possession multiple times late in the game to go up a score, and they stayed 10 toes down, and
They did.
They played really well on defense. I was really impressed.
It was huge being able to force the field goal attempt that obviously was no good. And I want to make notice, too, as we wrap up again, make sure to check out the Beaver's Edge, all of our post-game breakdown, including the videos, guys. 6 sacks on Eckhouse tonight, 6 tackles for loss. Those are fantastic numbers. And then last but not least, I want to get your guys' take. Oregon State manages to win this game with 60 yards passing. Jabari Johnson, the accuracy wasn't there. He was able to obviously do some things with his legs, but you could kind of see he wasn't quite himself. He left with a foot injury. They bring in Malik Murphy. Again, Malik does go 2 for 3 for 27, but guys, still feel like Oregon State's got some quarterback issues.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to say it, at least right now, from kind of this is against an FBS opponent
Right.
of your caliber. Some things need to get figured out fast. I mean,
They still only scored 10 points.
Yeah,
guys. So you still have to look at it that way for sure.
So you still need to figure out some things there and kind of, I don't know exactly where you'd start, but you need to figure out that fast, because clearly defense can keep you in games like we saw tonight. It's just offensively, if you somehow get into a shootout later on in these kind of final games that you have, I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried, but that's just more of a take it week by week kind of approach of like, we'll see what happens next week. You play a more beatable opponent in Sam Houston. You should be able to get the offense clicking and on all cylinders regardless of who starts there at quarterback, but we'll kind of just have to see and monitor Jabari's status, I think, going forward with that foot injury.
Ultimately, Rob Akey didn't have a whole lot to expand upon about that, said that Malik Murphy and Jabari Johnson both played great, today, and, complimentary Akey. But again, you look back to Anthony Hankerson in this game, 25 carries, $132, that long run of 37 right to our right as we're looking here. That was the game changer, and we're going to talk about it in our story. Hankerson put the offense on his back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the 2 biggest plays of the night was Murphy hitting Taz Reddix for about 25 yards down this right sideline, and Hank immediately following that up with his run and then punching it in. First touchdown gets called back on the 1-yard line. He puts it right in the next time for our only touchdown of the game. But Hankerson, once again, he starts the fire on offense. He keeps it burning, and he does not quit.
No, I mean, you got, and that's the thing. Ryan and I talked about it after Trent Bray. Where would this team's mindset be these couple weeks? Rob Akey had them playing hard, not quitting, and as a Beaver, as Beaver fans out there, you love to see that. All right, folks, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this post-game breakdown. Again, Oregon State gets the 10-7 win over Washington State. They improved to 2-7 on the year. They've got Sam Houston State, or I believe it's Sam Houston now. No, I think they've dropped the state, fellas. So I think it is just Sam Houston coming here to Corvallis on Saturday night game at Reser Stadium. Ryan Harlan and I will have the coverage from that game. Appreciate you all checking out this post-game breakdown. Oregon State gets the 10-7 win.